Hi, I'm Bob Searcel. I'm going to talk about some good things and some bad things about biking in the greater Seattle area in 2022. Keep in mind, these are my personal opinions as a resident and safe streets advocate in South Seattle. Let's check them out. Bad. WSDOT closure communication. A few times this year, WSDOT announced construction closures of the 520 and I-90 bridges across Lake Washington that had confusing information for cyclists. This led to at least one resident being stranded on the other side of the lake due to trail closures. While WSDOT did respond and has improved their communication of these closures, it still reflects a lack of understanding that people don't just bike for recreation. Good. Helmet law repeal. Early in the year, the King County Board of Health voted to repeal its mandatory helmet law. This only happened after groups like Real Change, Central Seattle Greenways, Cascade Bicycle Club, and more partnered together under the Helmet Law Working Group to combat inequitable enforcement of the helmet law and shift the focus onto better ways to make cycling safer, like better infrastructure and slower street designs. Bad. Lake Washington Boulevard. Finding ways to safely walk, bike, and roll along Lake Washington Boulevard was difficult in 2022. The bicycle weekend closures were really nice to have, but during normal commuting hours, the road became a speedway with aggressive drivers. I'm hoping the current visioning task force comes up with a design that's safer for everyone. But let's remember, Lake Washington Boulevard is literally a park. We can't let it get turned into a commuter freeway. Good. Eastside bike infrastructure. The Eastside has seen some nice biking improvements, like a new section of East Rail between Kirkland and Woodinville, a connection on North Up Way between the 520 Trail, East Rail, and Spring District in Bellevue, and a new side path segment of the I-90 trail running through Factoria, all with plenty more on the way. This nice bike infrastructure and new connections make biking safer and more accessible here. Bad. Cars in bike lanes. There have been so many drivers illegally parking in bike lanes, sidewalks, and bus stops in Seattle that someone actually created a website to try and track them all. But it's not being done just by private vehicle owners, it's also being done by city departments like Parks, WSDOT, the police, and more. When the city sets a bad example, other drivers will follow, and as is the case in Chicago earlier this year, blocking bike lanes can lead to deadly consequences. Good. Green Lake Outer Loop. The Green Lake Outer Loop was completed earlier this year, and it's pretty awesome. It's a two-way protected bike lane that runs fully around Green Lake in North Seattle and connects to a lot of bike routes in the area. The use of concrete curbs and repurposing an unneeded lane on Aurora Avenue are hugely important to creating bike routes that are accessible to all. Great work, WSDOT. Bad. South Seattle project delays. The city of Seattle has delayed multiple important projects in South Seattle, like the Beacon Hill Bike Route, MLK Way Complete Streets Project, and Georgetown to South Park Trail. These are in parts of the city currently lacking in quality bike infrastructure, and each project has been delayed over a year. These delays show that the city does not prioritize driving alternatives or safety of people outside of cars. Good. Cranksgiving's return. One of my favorite annual events is Seattle's Cranksgiving, a fun scavenger hunt that helps supply local food banks. This year was better than ever, as Seattle Bike Blog partnered with Cascade Bicycle Club's Pedaling Relief Project, and with the help of 180 riders, including myself, and 19 volunteers, over 1.7 tons of food were donated to the U District, Rainier Valley, and Billboard Place food banks. Bad. Seattle traffic violence. traffic violence has been really bad this year, as over 31 people have been killed by drivers in Seattle. It's frustrating because I've almost been hit by drivers multiple times, and I know people that have gotten hit. Advocates have been asking for safety improvements throughout the city that have been either denied or delayed. This is unacceptable in a city that is committed to Vision Zero. Good. Eastside Safe Streets organizing. It's been great to see groups like Complete Streets Bellevue and Move Redmond organizing events throughout the year, including the Move Redmond Open Streets Festival, policy rides exploring local bike connections, and even a fun board game themed joint fundraiser. The Eastside is growing immensely, and we need dedicated groups like these to ensure that people have safe ways to travel around our region without having to rely on private vehicles. There's a lot to celebrate, but also a lot to improve for biking in the region. We've got a lot of work to do in 2023, and if you want to help, find your local advocacy group and get involved. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of my content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.